When she did it, she was at her wit's end. She was in one of the most challenging situations of her life, and she could feel the stress and anxiety taking over her. So when she realized what her son had just done, she acted on her impulses. To her, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. She regretted it immediately after. It would turn out to be one of the biggest mistakes of her life. Mom loses custody after disciplining son who stole card and spent $600. The protagonist of this story is a woman from Gold Coast, Australia, who prefers to remain anonymous, but to whom we shall refer as Kate from now on. She recently became the subject of controversy due to her particular way of punishing her kid after learning that he had stolen a big sum of money from her. Millions of parents have already read her story, and now everyone is debating whether she was justified in acting the way she did. Thousands of people are also debating whether the consequences that Kate had to face for her actions are entirely fair. Reading about the event, it's clear that her actions were wrong and regrettable. But is it really fair that she had to pay such a high price for her mistake? When you read the whole story, you'll probably come up with your own conclusions. This is one of those stories that show how one person can be pushed to do things they regret later. It also shows how one can lose everything in a matter of minutes due to just one impulsive action. What Kate did cost her not only her public image, but also the custody of her own son. This is how it happened. If Kate's situation wasn't desperate, it was close to it. The last year had been absolutely excruciating to her. She had to go through a lengthy and tortuous divorce process and lost her job. And to make things worse, now she was close to getting evicted from her home, where she lived with her kid, a 10-year-old boy with ADHD and autism. For the last few weeks, that landlord had been her worst nightmare. Kate's rent for the last 2 months was overdue. She had tried to tell her landlord all about her situation and her struggles. She explained to him that she had lost her job and that she was still waiting for alimony and child support to come through from her now ex-husband. But he didn't seem to care at all. Kate's days were consumed by anxiety, trying to find at least a temporary solution to her problems. One night, after days of deliberating what she could do, she finally thought of one possible way to face her debts. It was something she hoped she would never have to do. However, her situation was critical. She had no other option. So she dialed the number and waited for a response. She had to call one family member. Her parents had given up on her long ago, not supportive of her life choices. By then, their relationship was tainted, and Kate would have never dared to ask them for money. So instead, she called her grandma. On more than one occasion, she had been the one to come to Kate's rescue, no matter how bad she had messed up or what she needed. But this time was different. This time, Kate felt ashamed to ask her grandma for money once again. But it was the only thing she could do, at least until the alimony and child support came through. After a conversation on the phone where she explained all her troubles to her worried grandma, Kate got the elderly woman to make her a bank transfer of some hundreds of dollars. At least, that would be enough to pay for the overdue rent. Or that's what she thought. Something happened that Kate didn't count on. Her son, who, as remarked above, is diagnosed with ADHD and autism, managed to get a grab of Kate's credit card. Arguably unaware of the seriousness of their financial troubles and how important that money was for Kate, he spent over $600 on buying video games. And when his mother noticed this, in the midst of her anxiety, she did something she would regret forever. In an outburst of frustration, she punished the kid using a wooden spoon. As it was reported later, the kid reacted by punching and kicking holes into the home's walls. Later, Child Protective Services were informed about the incident. The details of how this happened or who alerted the authorities remain confidential. However, that's when Kate's problems really started. Soon enough, the authorities knocked on Kate's door and interviewed her. She admitted what she had done, and shortly after, her 2 kids were taken away from her. Recently, Kate has had to face trial for her actions and has seen her story go viral, along with the jury's decisions regarding her kids. Now, everyone is commenting on her sentence and whether it has been a fair one. According to reports, Kate has lost custody of her 2 kids, but she still can see them 2 days a week. Also, she will be on probation for the next 9 months, but she won't have to face a jail sentence. In her defense, Kate and her lawyer tried to argue that Kate was in a difficult situation and under a lot of pressure when she punished her child with the spoon. These are her lawyer's words. "It was an unfortunate matter. My client has a child with significant learning difficulties, and unfortunately, it resulted in the manner that it did," he told the press after trial. "It has had a profound effect on her. She has suffered significantly, given she has lost the care of these children as a result of this incident. She will be fighting to have her children returned to her care as soon as she can, with the appropriate support networks in place. However, what's even more interesting are the judge's words. "I accept this completely out of character. I can understand why she's done what she's done. I can only imagine how difficult this is as a single mother with 2 children to make ends meet." However, society has moved on from physical punishment. This story raises a lot of questions and issues up for debate. What do you think? Do you think Kate can be excused for what she did, considering her circumstances? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.